All right. Hello, everyone. It's Kristen here, and I'm just getting set up to do this live tutorial, and I want to make sure that this is broadcasting. So skip the, if you see an ad, skip the ad. Okay, so we are good to go. I just want to make sure I can see the chat. Okay, yes. All right, so what we are going to do this month is a tutorial on how to create your own font using the Procreate app. There are several different types of font makers that I have used in the past. And while I like all of them, some are a little bit easier than others. So right off the bat, I'll just let you know my three favorite ones are iFont Maker, this one, iFont Maker. However, that is its own app. So to use it with Procreate, you have to create things in Procreate and then send it to Font Maker. And you can't use your brushes. You have to use their brushes. You can only use, well, there's like ways around it, but it's super duper tedious. So I really don't even use this one anymore. Then there is Font Self, which is a nice app. However, they don't have, it's not completed yet. It's available on the App Store, but there's also a beta version, which they're working to improve, and I'm really looking forward to that because they're adding things that Procreate has, such as Streamline, and like they have the two-finger tap to undo. So they're working on it, but they're still not quite there yet. Like they don't even have all the glyphs available. So like if I wanted to add an ampersand, I couldn't. So I do really like that one, but it's not yet. So the one that we're going to be using, that I've been using quite a bit lately, is Calligrapher. And the reason I like this one is because you can download what you need from there and upload it straight to Procreate, work in Procreate itself, whereas the other apps you can't really work in Procreate. So you can work in Procreate and then export your font templates to here and build your font there. So that is what we're going to be using. This is online, and it does have a free version. However, the free version is limited. But I will get into all of that and show you all of that then. But before we get to there, I just want to talk about like what some things you might want to think about when you're coming up with a font. So the first thing is I have, and I will add this, let me make a note. I will add this Pinterest board of fonts, so you can get some inspiration. This is just one place where you can get inspiration from. You can just go to Pinterest or Google and type in fonts. But one thing that I do want to stress is for you not to copy or trace existing fonts. You want to come up with your own. So one of the things that I like to do is I'll pick a couple and I'll make like a board of, you know, all of the fonts that I really like, you know, little things that I like about them, so I can reference them and not necessarily copy. So like in this one, I might say, oh, I like how some of the letters are, whoops, that's going somewhere else. I like how some of the letters have a shape for the O, and then some have the faux calligraphy where it's open. So I might like that, and I might keep that in my mind. So yeah, you can find lots of places. I mean, just going out in public and looking at all the different signage and text that you see. You know, everything from like menus to storefronts. You can find all different kinds of fonts everywhere. So you want to get your inspiration. And then what I do from there is I go and I create like a mood board, and I just copy pasted all of the images that I liked. So for this one, I haven't made this yet, but what I wanted to do was make like a botanical kind of font. So I really liked this one, how it was like a dark letter with a floral image over it. I liked how this had like tall, thin lines and just a couple botanicals peeking out. This one I liked how the white was traced around the black foliage. So there's different things I like about each of these. This one I like how there's kind of like a bubbly, bulky letter with some white doodles inside. This one kind of looked like wreaths and branches. So I put all of that together, and then without it, even though I made this in Procreate, I'm not going to like add a new layer and trace these. This is just for reference. So when I'm making this, I can reference and say, oh, I really liked the tall, thin capital letters. So I want all of my font to be capital letters, but I also maybe want a branchy look. And again, I'm not going to trace any of this. I'm just keeping this in my mind. So then when I go and create mine, I'm going to create it from scratch. So that way I'm pulling references and inspiration, but I'm not copying somebody's work. So that is one of the first things that I do. Another thing that I do is, well, before I get to that, let me turn this off. One of the things is, let me just find a brush to work with here. So one of the things that you want to decide is your cases. So when it comes to like uppercase and lowercase, you might have the typical where you have one set of uppercase or capital letters and then a set of lowercase letters. Or you can have a font that is all capitals. So like the capitals are capitals, but then the lowercase might be like just a different style of a capital. So whether you type a lowercase a or a capital A, you're gonna get one of these A's. Same thing, but for lowercase, so you can have all lowercase, but say you type a capital, you'll get this one, and if you type a lowercase a, you'll get that one. So that's another way to do it. And then one of the things I like to do is do like a mixed. So I like to do a capital and a lowercase, but the lowercase is the same height as a capital. So I like that quirky kind of font. The one thing that you'll see a lot of, especially if you're shopping for fonts, are what are called font duos. And that's kind of what this is. It's taking two different fonts and making one capital letters and then another one all lowercase, but it's two different styles. So you might have like a bold uppercase for your capitals, and then you might see that paired with like a script font for the lowercase. That way people can get kind of two fonts in one, and it might pair nicely. So you don't have to buy two different fonts. And then another way is you might have a font that is, let's duplicate this. Okay, so you might have a font that is outlined and then a font that is filled in. So one might be a capital and one might be a lowercase. And actually I did make a font like this that I made for free in the Procreate lettering club here on Patreon. Let me pull that up real quick so I'll show you. So if we go to add a text, and it is called Basic Block AF. So the capitals are outlined and the lowercase are bold. So the way you could use this text is if you would duplicate it and edit one of them, and let's say we want one to be a color. So now it kind of looks like the text is colored in, but it's really trendy to kind of offset that a little bit. Kind of like that. So that's how you can use those texts. Okay, so another thing you want to consider is which characters or glyphs you want to use. So this is an example of a font that I purchased, and I really, really like this font. It's one of my favorites, but there's a couple things I don't like about it. And one, these are the things that stick out to me right away when I purchase a font, and that is that they don't use or include as many gifts as I use. So for example, you can see right away what sticks out to me are these parentheses. They're the basic font ones that are just put in there if you don't write in your own fonts. Same with these money signs. So there's like the euro, I think that's a lira. I don't know what that is, and a yen. And then also, this one's not so hard to tell, but the little circle that represents like degrees. And actually this one too, the dash. Again, that one's kind of hard to see because it doesn't have that much shape to it. But it gets really, oh, and this one too. She didn't draw this one too. See, because I use fonts so much, I can really pick out the things that people didn't use. Whereas if you just look at it quickly, you might not notice it. But when you're going and you're making a certain design and you want it to look cohesive, it's so frustrating when you go to add one of these characters and it's not in their part of their font. So then the font will automatically replace it with these standard ones. So I hope that's making a little bit of sense. So the reason I'm talking about this is because this is where an issue comes in when you're using Calligrapher. So let's go back to Calligrapher, which is actually, it's calligrapher.com, but it's spelled P-H-R instead of, there's no E in between the H and the R. So let me log out and log back in with my free one. Okay, so with the free, you can create a free account. However, the free plan is limited. So with the free plan, you can only create one font, and you're limited to 75 characters. So my basic fonts, when I add in all the characters, are more than that. So I forget how many there are exactly, but there are more. And also, you're limited to 2 variants per character, which isn't a big deal because I generally don't put in a lot of variants with mine. You can though, and we'll cover that. But again, the biggest part for me is the 75 characters and just having the one font. If you wanted to upgrade, these are the options. And to me, this is relatively inexpensive. So the only thing is it is a subscription. It's not like you pay once and done. So the first time I used it, I just paid for 1 month and I tried it out. And then I didn't make fonts for a really long time. And then I got back into it again. So my month was up. So then I purchased the 6 months for $24, which works out to be $4 a month, which I think is really a decent price for what you get. So and then you also have the 3 months for $16. And then if you read about it, it will tell you everything that you get with it, and it covers all the pricing. So I upgraded my account to be the full one, not just the free one. So if you're looking here, so I have the pro version is what I meant to say. You're allowed to have 12 fonts. Here you can have 48 characters or ligatures per font. So ligatures are really important when you get into using script. And if you're making your first font, I do not recommend doing script. I'm currently working on a script and it's taking me forever because it's super tedious with the kerning and lining your letters up and your exit strokes with your entry strokes, and it's really a pain in the butt. So we're not going to cover a script font right now. And then you can have 15 variants. So I do highly recommend the pro version if you can afford it, but if not, you can still make your own fonts, and you can even still sell them. I would just let purchasers know. Hi, baby. Sorry, my dog just realized I wasn't in the room with him. I'm right here. He was napping, and I snuck away to my office. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a hairball. You okay, bud? Sorry about that. Okay, now I forget what I was saying. I don't even remember now. So I'm just gonna continue on and walk you through this step by step. So the first thing you want to do is create a template. So you can either click right here, or you can go up here to templates. And I click on remove all because I like to go in and add my own. So you have the basics here. You have common scripts, you have miscellaneous, and you have languages. So being that I speak English, I use the English one, but if you're, you know, Norwegian or Turkish, Ukrainian, any of these, Vietnamese, Spanish, you can click on any of these and it will add in the special characters for that language for you. So under miscellaneous, I like to add the basic mathematical, and that's going to give me 69. And there are a bunch of these that I can tell you right away I'm not gonna ever use. So to get rid of ones you don't want to use, you can just tap on them and it will ask you if you want to delete. But I just go ahead and check, don't ask me to delete again. So I'm just gonna tap on these to delete these ones. If you mess up and you accidentally tap on one, you can just tap the basic mathematical and it'll bring them all back again. So there's that little degree, I want to keep that in. I don't need these. I'll leave those. None of these I need. I just wanted these basic ones because when you add in some of these, it starts to look really bad. Like I said, when you're creating a design and some of these are just off, but most people won't use more than those. Okay, so now I also want to add in punctuation. So that is 69 punctuations. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We can go through and take out the ones we don't need. So I definitely want all of those, all of those. Those are the math ones. I don't need these extra. I already have a comma. Okay, and then I will go up and go to, sorry, basics, and I will do numbers. So there are minimal numbers. So I have 0 through 9, and then minimal English. And you can see it kind of does a little bit of green to show you which ones you're adding in. So it added in all of the capital letters and all of the lowercase letters. Now, if you're doing a script, I would highly recommend adding in ligatures. So that would be a whole other tutorial because it would take like 10 times longer to do. But this is where you would go in and add your ligatures, like TH, double letters like TT, FF, SS. And I also add anything that certain letters like R and Z, certain letters that have an entry stroke, and I do ligatures for those because when you go to make your font, they don't line up right. So I make ligatures for things that don't line up right. So anyway, that's where you would add them. And then when you're all ready, and now you could see this is more than the 74, but this is the basic one that I use. And then you go to download template, and it's going to, you can rename it if you want. And then you can choose PDF or PNG, either one is fine. You can import either into Procreate. I'm just gonna stick with, actually, let's just do PNG. And here it's asking you what size you want the cells. The only downfall about this is you can't see it as you move it. I usually just leave it right where it is. If you want the boxes that you draw your letters in to be bigger, like if you're gonna do a lot of detail in your font, I would make my boxes bigger, and then you're gonna have more pages. Or you can make it smaller, have everything on one page. That's up to you. But I'm just gonna leave it right here. And here it's asking if you want the help lines. So it will have like the baseline and the cap height and stuff there for you. I always leave that in. And then it's asking if you want the characters as a background. You can choose to leave this in or not. I'll just check it so you can see what it looks like. Buddy! He sees somebody outside. So the characters that will have like a light faded general letter to let you know kind of like basically what it would look like. So if you have an idea of your style, that might be distracting to you to see another letter, but I just leave them in here because it doesn't distract me. And then when you're ready, you hit download. And it's taking a minute to go through. A long minute. I'm gonna drink a water in the meantime. Usually doesn't take this long for me, so I don't know what the deal is. It's really weird. Let me try that again. Maybe if I exit out of that one. Well, I'm gonna exit out of there for a minute, and I'm gonna show you another thing that I like to do is I like to do just warm-ups. So I will go in and just practice lettering the whole alphabet before I actually start drawing my font. And the reason I do this is because I've noticed in my work, especially when I'm making like lettering practice sheets and stuff for you guys, I will start out lettering one way, and by the time I get to the end, my style kind of changed a bit. So it's better for me to warm up and get that beginning styles out of the way so that by the time I go to do my font, it's all the same. So I'm going to add some guidelines by going to the wrench, canvas, and turn on drawing guide. And then I'm just going to do the alphabet. And I try to do, so letters that, like a C, it looks the same whether it's capital or uppercase. So in that case, I'll try to draw it 2 different ways. Like that. So that by the time I get to the end, like all of my letters will be the same. Like already I can tell like this A is like a lot bigger than these other ones. So I would probably go back and do maybe a thinner one like that. And like an uppercase L kind of looks the same. You might do something like that if you want, or just like a longer foot. So that's what I do first. So I go ahead and I write it all out, and then you can save it as an image and upload that into your reference. Let me just finish this real quick so I can show you what I was talking about. So with this font, I'm having it all be the same height, whether it's capital or lowercase. Whoops. Okay, so I would save this. So go to the wrench, share, and JPEG. And we're gonna save the image so it saves to our camera roll. Okay, now let's go back and figure out why this is still processing. Holy moly. We want minimal English. Oh, I gotta log into my other account, my paid account. There we go. Templates. Okay. Download template. PNG. Oh, we want the characters and download. Please go faster this time. There we go. Okay. So right here, this is our download. So we're just going to tap on that, and that's a zip file. We're going to hit download, and that's going to go up here to our downloads. So if you tap on that and hit there, it's going to take you to your Files app in your download section, and it's going to be in a zip, which is right here. So to unzip something in your Files app, you just tap it, and it's going to go up to a blue folder, which is right here. So we're going to tap that, and it gave us 2 sheets based on the size that we chose. So to upload these into Procreate, I am going to drag and drop these into Procreate. So to do that, these 3 little dots right here at the top, I'm going to tap there and choose the middle one for split screen, and then open Procreate so it's side by side. And to import this, I'm just going to tap in, hold it, and then drag it over and drop it into Procreate. and that's that one there, and then that's that one there. If you wanted them both in the same canvas, you could do that too, by opening the one canvas and then dragging and dropping the second one in. So either way, the important thing is that you have these 4 squares showing on your canvas, because that's how it reads the font. So this one is the second page. This one is the first page, but the second page is covering the first page because it's on top of it. So if we just turn that layer off, then we can see the layer beneath it. Oh wait, that's I did both pages. So let me pull that back up and drag and drop this one in. I dragged the wrong one in before. There we go. Sorry about that if I was confusing anyone. So this has our punctuation, numbers, capital letters. And then if we turn this one off, that has the rest of it. So I go ahead and I make a new layer, a blank layer on top of each one, because as you know, if you draw right on this, you're not going to be able to make changes later on. So we're going to have a layer above there and a layer above there. So this is the first one we're working on. And you know, you're going to go in and pick whatever brush you want, and that's what I love about this, because it's right in Procreate, so it's the program you know, it's the brushes you like. And here it's showing you, this is what I was talking about, how it shows you the letter. If you untoggled that, then this would just be blank. So this might be helpful for some of you to have a letter to reference, and for some of you this might be a distraction. I do want to caution you, however, though, a lot of times I've gone up to like there and it's cut that off. So even though it's still in that square, it cuts the letter off if you go much higher than that top line there. So for this one, my pen is too big for that. And don't worry if it's pixelated like that, because this is why I like, you can do the 2-finger tap to undo, and have all of the Procreate things, so you can have, you know, the quick shapes and the quick lines and all of that. But don't worry if it's pixelated, because when it puts it into the font maker, it vectorizes it. So and it's pixelated because we're zoomed in so much. Like when I zoom out, it doesn't look pixelated. So anytime you zoom in on something with Procreate, it's going to look pixelated. So you would just continue drawing all your fonts, all your letters. Oh, and like I said, if you wanted to use a reference, this is where you can bring that in. So let's say I forgot how I wanted to draw the E. So if you go to your wrench and go to Canvas and choose Reference, right now it's showing you what you have on the screen, your canvas, but if you go to Image, you can import an image. And here's the one that we just made. So you can use 2 fingers and pinch and zoom to get your reference image. And this little gray dot right here, or gray line, allows you to move this around the canvas so it's not in your way. So that's how you can use that. Okay, so once you have everything lettered, you are going to, you can close out of this, just tap it and choose the X there. Once you have all of this filled out, you can then merge it. So to merge it, you just pinch those two together, and now the text is on top of the template. And same for, let's see if you turn off this one, and same for here if you do this and then merge those, then that's going to be there. Now, whether you have 1 or 2 or 10 pages, layers, when you go to export it, you want to have them all turned on. So you might not be able to see them all because this one's hiding this one, but make sure they're all turned on, because when you go to export it, to do them all at the same time, you have to have them all on. So we want to save this now. So we're going to go to our wrench, and we're going to go to share, and down here we're going to choose PNG files, and it's asking you where you want to save them. You can save them to your files app or to your camera roll. So I'm just going to hit save to images, and that's going to save them to my camera roll. Now over in Calligrapher, we're going to go up to my fonts, and these are some of the fonts that I've already made. You're going to want to go to upload template, and it's asking you which files you want to add. So if you want to choose a file, and just select wherever you saved your templates to. So we saved mine in my photo library. So you can only upload one at a time. So I'm going to tap the first one and then tap, actually I don't want to do that because that's on that one. I'm going to go to new font. Whoops. What just happened? New font. Okay, I'm sorry, I got confused. So what happens is I already had this existing font here. So if I would upload those templates that I just made to here, it would override this font, and I don't want it to do that because this is my good font. So I'm going to go to new font, and now it's asking you for a font name. You can name it whatever you like. I would suggest doing some Googling, some Pinteresting, some Etsying to see if that font already exists with that name, because you don't, number one, you don't want to use anything that's trademarked, and number two, you don't want to accidentally use a font name that somebody has already claimed. So I like to name mine after my pets. So I have Buddy, we call him Buddy Eddie Eddie. So I named that Buddy Eddie. Then I have one for Macy, that's my script font. I have Cheeky Fun, that is one that I did, and then I have an outline font, which is just Buddy, but outlined, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'm just gonna name this test for now, and then it's asking you if you want to, how far apart you want the letters spaced, the size you want your font, and for Procreate's sake, I always bump this up to about halfway. Because if you notice in Procreate, a lot of times a font might not show up, and that could be because they hadn't named it, or because they used letters here that weren't in their font. And then it asks you how you want the words spaced. There's also the metadata, which again, the metadata is only available for the pro version. If you're on the free version, it doesn't let you put this extra stuff in. So it's asking the style, and you can have regular, bold, italic, or bold italic. If you want to make a regular and then go ahead and make a bold one with thicker lines, you just name it the same thing, but bold, or same with it, italic and bold italic, and then Procreate, and then you choose which one you want, and then when you import it into Procreate, it will all be under one font. And then I always put my name here under designer name. You can add a description, that kind of thing. And then when you're done, just hit save. And it's saying no characters yet. So this is where we're going to upload our template. So we're going to choose the file, photo library, and choose one image, and then tap that again. And you just repeat that for however many images you have. For one of my fonts, my script font, I think I had like 8 pages because that's how many ligatures I had to have. I always toggle automatically clean templates and then choose upload template. And these are the letters that I added. So it's giving you a preview of them. If you don't like any of them, you could always go in and hit the delete. So like I don't like this B, so I'm gonna delete that. You also can tap, not here, sorry, and then in the next page we'll be able to tap and do some extra editing to it. Up here it's saying to add new variants. After you upload these, you can upload a second one. So we're going to, if you like all of these, you're going to hit add characters to your font. And now I'm going to go, this is where you can tap on each one and make some changes to it. So here you can edit the character. I usually don't edit here. I usually edit in Procreate if I need it. Here, the only thing I do is adjust the spacing. So right now this is fine. Again, it's when it comes to script that I really play a lot with this spacing. How close I want the letters to come on the left side and how far apart or how close I want the letter to be on the right side. So when you're done with that, you can hit save. You can copy a character and you can adjust the baseline. So you can move this if you want it to be lower than others. I mean, you can actually have an alphabet that is kind of quirky and goes up and down. But again, keep in mind if it's above that line, it might get cut off. And also, this is in alphabetical order, so your words aren't always going to be lined up this way. So when you spell out a word, you might have 2 letters that are up, 2 that are down. But I'm just showing you how you can move this around, and you can also adjust the size of the font. You can make it smaller or larger. And then when you're ready, you can hit save. And then that is RA, and then you can hit back to your font. Now, when you're all ready, well, before we get there, you could go into edit font details, and this gives you the same information. So you can go in and make edits after you've uploaded it. And same for here, these 3 dots allow you to copy the font, delete it, or adjust the baseline. But we are going to click on build font. And right here, it's grayed out because it gives you the option to randomize characters. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So right now we're going to hit build. And this is what it's giving you a preview of the font. You can turn up that size. And it's showing you a size comparison. So it's going to show you how big your font is, the one in the middle. It's going to show you how big it is compared to other fonts. So you can go back and change the size of that if you want. And right here is where you can download your font. So if you like how your font turned out, the other thing you can do here is it says click into the text to add your own text. So I might add a pangram, such as the quick brown fox, whatever. Now you can see you can see what's happening is I don't have letters for those, so it's giving me those X boxes. But when you do have a font and you can see how how it's going to look side by side, and then you can go in and make adjustments afterwards. So when you're done with that, you can hit close. Now, something else that you could do is create the variants. So let's say when you're writing words, sometimes if you have words with like double letters, sometimes it doesn't look nice if it won't look nice if the two letters are like exactly the same. Sometimes it looks more handwritten and natural and organic when you have them a little bit different. So for here, you can go in and change an A to add a variant and then upload this again. But here comes the issue. Because I merged these, I can't go and erase because it's going to erase. If I turn that off and erase, you see it's erasing everything behind it too. So, a word of warning, before you merge your layers, make a copy of your canvas. So if you want to go back and make changes, you can. So on here, let's say I'm going to make a different A, like this. Okay, then I'm going to save it as a PNG, save, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to upload template again. I'm going to choose a file and choose use and upload template. Now here it's asking me, do I want to overwrite the existing character? So if I want this A instead of the first A, I would toggle that one. But if I want to create a variant, I'm going to toggle this one. And I'm going to hit add characters to the font and then build font again. And if I go in and type AAA, well, it's not working now. There it is. Okay. So because I had it on the capital one, it's giving me a variety. It's giving me the second one I drew and the first one I drew. So that's how you can create variants. However, not all programs read and understand and use variants. And I think Procreate might be one of the ones that doesn't. I haven't tested it yet, but Procreate's still kind of limited on what it can do with fonts. So once you have your font, and this is the one that I had uploaded and created for this tutorial, once you have that, you're going to go and tap on, I usually do both. There's TTF, which is a true type font, and OTF, which is open type font. Procreate accepts both kinds, but I download both just because if I were to sell mine, I can offer my customer both depending on what their needs are. And here you can see a preview of what it looks like. Now, I'm not that crazy about the O. It looks like it's really too far from the letters. So here's how I fix that. I'm going to, and see how the F's are pretty far apart. I'm going to fix that by going to, close that, and let's go to my O. So here I'm going to adjust the spacing, and I'm going to move this spacing from the right. I'm going to move that over to the left a little bit and save it. Then go back, build fonts again, build, and it's going to give me a preview again. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to kind of see what happened. It's kind of a pain in the butt to go back and forth, whereas some of these, like the Font Self app that I was telling you about, they actually have it in real time. So as you draw your font, you see it up top right away, which is really nice. Okay, save, back, build font. Now it's, it's not coming up. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Anyway, if you go and tap to download, which we already did, you can share, sorry, go to your downloads, and this is where they're going to be, but also they're going to go to your Files app where I showed you before under your downloads. And from there, you can import them into Procreate. But before I leave this screen, I just want to try. Yeah, it's not reading any of my letters, and I don't know why. That's so weird. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to upload it into Procreate. So if you go to your Files app and go to Downloads and find our font. That's not it. So it's automatically importing. So if you open a canvas and go to your fonts, so go to wrench, add text, and go to your fonts. Here we have two, because I had one that I used the first time, and the second one it uploaded a second time just now. So when I was talking about, when you can see that like this is pretty easy to read, whereas some of these are like so small, like this one is really small, you can barely see what that font name is. That's why I always make my fonts a little bit bigger so you can see them easier. But this is my Buddy Eddie font, and one of the things that you can do in Procreate is add an outline to this. So if you go and duplicate it, let me move it down a little bit. Okay, and then if you go into edit, go to your font menu and then turn on outline, it's just going to automatically outline that text. So when I first created my basic block text with the colored in font and then the outline font, I realized that I really didn't need to do that because Procreate will automatically do that for me. But now if you have somebody who's not using Procreate and might just be using like Cricut Design Space or something, then you might want to include that outlined font for them. So unless, I'm not sure if Cricut, I'm not a big user of Cricut, so I'm not sure if they automatically do like an outlining like this. I know a lot of programs do, so it might. I'm not sure. I can't really speak to that. But so yeah, that's something that Procreate is able to do. Now, if we go back to, what am I forgetting to tell you? Oh, okay. So if we go back to Procreate, and let's go back to our font here, and let's say this is how I made my outlined font. So I'm in my template, okay, and I already made my basic Buddy Eddie font. So I am going to add text, and I want it to be Buddy Eddie, and I'm going to do caps. I'm just going to do the first couple letters, and then I'm going to move each one. So I'm sorry if I'm going too fast. I want to move each one of these into its proper box. So I'm going to go to the selection ribbon, freehand, make sure color fill is off, so it should be not blue. And then I'm going to draw around the letter that I want and go to the arrow and move that down to the A. And that's a little bit big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it's within that box. And then do the same thing with the rest of these. I'm just going to do A, B, C, D for time's sake, just to show you how I made my outline font. So let me get rid of all this. Okay, so now in this layer, what I'm going to do is tap the N and turn that down, just so it's light enough so I can see to trace it. And then I'm going to add a new layer and select a brush. I might just take, it's too big. I'll just get a regular brush and trace around this. Like that. And then you have your outlined font, and you can get, you know, as detailed as you want with this. I'm just being kind of real loose with this just for the demonstration. And then you can turn off your original one, and you can, you know, go in and add designs or, you know, whatever you want to these to make them fun. It's kind of crazy right there. Yeah. So just have fun with it. One that's really popular that I made was the one that, you know, has the extra lines around it like that, or it might have some dots or just like an extra line. Kind of like a really messy font like that is really popular at the moment. So, and then when you're done, again, you would, you know, go back to do all those steps where you save this and then upload this into Calligrapher. So, that is how you would do everything. If for some reason, when you go, if you're in your fonts and you tap on your font and it doesn't automatically import to Procreate, one of the things that you can do is take your font and make sure I get a good one. So if you tap and hold, you can then move it around. So with one hand, you're going to tap and hold your font. And then over here, I'm going to tap on my iPad. And then you're going to find Procreate. And then you're going to find fonts. And then you're just going to drop it in there. And it's telling me I already have Buddy Eddy downloaded in here. And do I want to replace it? I don't. I want to keep the one I have. But so your font would be here. So whenever you want fonts to show up in Procreate, all you have to do is save them to your folder. That's your iPad, Procreate, and fonts. Now, also keep in mind that this is just going to show up in Procreate. It won't show up around other apps in your iPad or like on your computer or anything. You would have to download those separately and install those separately. So that is how I've been creating my fonts. Please let me know if you have further questions, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. This was really fun for me to make some of these, and I have been sharing them with you here in the Patreon club. I've also been putting them on my Etsy, and I am currently working on a script one, but like I said, it's super hard. And if you want, I will give you guys a peek of that. So I named that one Macy. And if we go to build font, it's going to give me a preview. Hopefully. No! What happened? It's not there. Oh my gosh. I wonder why that's not working. Luckily I had already I wonder if it's because I logged out and logged back in as a different one. Let me close out of here. And let me close out of Safari. Let me close out of everything. And go back into calligrapher.com. Okay, that's me. Sorry, I'm kind of troubleshooting with you here, but if this happens to you, I kind of want to be able to let you know what to do. There it is. Okay, so I shut down my internet, I closed it out, I exited out of here, and then I reopened it again. Sometimes that makes all the difference, just closing out your apps. So as you can see, this is the one I've been working on. I do have a lot to fix still, like the tops of my L's are cut off. So I have to redo my L's. I had to play with a lot of kerning, but here, as you can see, it is like a really smooth line. So that is because it was vectored when we put it in there. So you don't see, no matter how much you zoom in, you don't get any pixelization. But there are a lot of things I still need to fix. Like I'm not crazy with, like I said, some of this kerning looks a little wonky to me. I forgot to add the ligature BR. So you can see my B isn't attached to my R because I forgot to add that ligature. So that's one of the things, anytime you have an R, you have to, what I do is I go in and I create a ligature for every letter that comes before R. So I do a ligature for AR, BR, CR, DR, ER, and I go through the whole alphabet and do every single ligature. I obviously forgot to do the B. So R is one that I do all the ligatures for, and Z, and I forget which other ones. Whatever letters have a, oh, an S. Whatever letters have an entry stroke. So you can see here I need to make that T a little bit closer to the N. So this still needs a lot of work, but I wanted to show you it is possible to do. It's just super duper tedious. A lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, I've been working on that for feels like weeks already. But if you do have questions on this, please let me know and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Oh, I do want to mention that the Font Self app that is in beta. Whoops. See, this has the 2-finger tap to undo, but this is what I do like is as soon as you draw your letters, you see them real time. You don't have to go in and hit build font right away. And it does give you some different styles of letters to follow, whereas Calligrapher doesn't. But you can see I already had some in here that I was playing with, and it does have the pressure sensitive brushes. and get rid of all those other ones. So there's quickly just a sample one that I made, but again, it doesn't have a lot of the basics. So you can't get like an ampersand or a plus sign or, you know, certain ones. So I'm waiting for that to hit this one, and then I'll probably start use this one a lot more. It does have a free version. It does really feel a lot like Procreate when you're using it, so I like that about it. And I think it does have a one-time fee for the upgrade. I'm not sure. It might be like $9 or something. I can't remember. Same with iFont Maker. This one had a one-time fee. I don't remember what it was. Might have been $9, $10. But the brushes are limited, very, very limited. It's not even let me here. These are the brushes, and it looks like there's a lot, but they're really not that great. It does have the capability to go in and edit things and move things around, but I am not a huge fan of that. I'd rather just draw it in Procreate and, you know, have it be my natural writing as opposed to all of this stuff. I mean, you can do all this stuff. Illustrator is another way. A lot of people make fonts, and, you know, with the really expensive font maker programs, but making fonts isn't my thing, my overall thing, so I don't spend a lot of money on it. If it were, I would probably invest a little bit more, but the apps that I use is just fine for me making a couple fonts here and there, so that's why I don't really invest a whole lot of money into it. But this is, again, like super tedious with the kerning, so it does give you kerning options. You can go in and add a bunch more ligatures. It can show you different pangrams and stuff. So right here, because I only have the A, it's only showing me the A right now, but pangrams are super fun if you're making fonts because it lets you see what, well, first of all, if you're not sure what a pangram is, it is a sentence that has every single letter of the alphabet in it, at least once. So let me show you here. Taking forever again. Okay, so if we go here, we can type in the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So that's an example of a pangram that you probably have seen around. The quick brown fox jumps over, I think it's supposed to be the or a, I can't remember it, the lazy dog. So this sentence has every word, every letter of the alphabet in it. There are several others. If you would like me to share the other pangrams that I use, just let me know and I'll add them for you. I might even make them into a lettering practice sheet for you if that would be helpful. But this is something that I like to add so you can kind of just see how the different letters kind of line up and play with each other. Again, that BR isn't connected, so that's really bothering me, and something that I have to fix. So yeah, that is all, my friends, and please share your fonts with us. I would love to see them, and happy hand lettering and happy font making.